Dear God, thank you for all of us being able to breathe and live. I praise you and thank you for always placing food in front of our plates, somehow always providing. Amen.
In the deep end.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. Let me ask you about your family. Yeah, lots of speculation, of course, constantly.
If you understand what I'm saying, could you translate what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want you to translate what I said.
I know what.
And then let's move on to the next question.
Okay. Let me attempt to translate.
What did I mean by that?
I think what she meant was that you are not afraid to ruffle feathers. You're not afraid to cause trouble where you feel it's justified.
Still
You're not afraid to call people out who you think deserve to be called out. But then occasionally,
let's go, Hassan!
You've expressed yourself in a way that perhaps hasn't quite hit the right mark, and that you are work in progress, as indeed we all are, and that you could phrase things better, which would cause less offence to a wider number of people, when in fact the target of your anger may be much more specific. That would be my interpretation of what you've just said.
Do you think that we can move forward as a civilization without there being any offense? Because one person's truth can be the other person's lie.
I think it entirely depends.
You know, it's like,
I think it entirely depends. Honestly, look, part of me wants to say yes to that, but I do think there is a line, and we should all be mindful of the line. And the line to me is I don't think any form of racism or perceived racism should ever be tolerated. I don't think that is free speech. It's just hate speech. And I think one of the problems with what you said about the Jewish people was the more generic way that you phrased that sentence. People didn't understand you were talking about specific business people you'd had a problem with. They thought you genuinely meant you were going DEFCON 3 on all Jewish people. And they took that to be a blatant form of anti-Semitism. I think you've explained in this interview that was not your intention at all, which is good. But I think if you're asking me to interpret what you've just said yourself, that would be my interpretation. That, you know, you're work in progress, and sometimes you say stuff
I didn't just
which
explain.
doesn't quite get over what you're really meaning.
But what I really mean is, I don't want it to be settled. I don't want to be forgiven by Jewish people until we get to what the problem really is. I don't want, you know, like Elon, he got on Twitter, he said, I talked to Ye, he took it to heart. And I liked my boy standing up for me, but I was like, but the fight isn't done though. Everybody, white media, left media, they just want to squash the fight. They want to keep the pain of George Floyd going, right? But they don't want the pain of our representatives.
What did Elon Musk say to you about the tweet, out of interest?
It's vague to me right now. I don't want to misquote him.
What was the general?
It's vague to me.
What was the general point of what he was saying?
It's vague to me. It's truly vague to me. I'm an honest person. I tell you what it was. What I keep on saying, it's just always about this tweet. It's so much more. If you look back at this interview, and it's like a direction arrow, it's more in the direction of fixing the statement than fixing the problem.
I think both
and that's my problem.
I understand, but I would say to that I think they're two different things, and you can fix both actually. And I accept that part of what you were trying to do and the point you were trying to make, I completely understand it because you've explained it in more detail. On Elon Musk, there is a suggestion that when he gets control of Twitter, which seems likely now, that he will bring you back, he'll bring Donald Trump back. Do you think that would be right?
It would be lit.
Do you think it's wrong that you and Trump have been banned from these platforms?
Absolutely. I was talking to Trump a couple days ago, and he was like, I'm not going to do his voice, right? But he was saying, I had 277 million followers, and the next day I had nothing. And that related to, Mark Zuckerberg, Meta. Mark Zuckerberg thinks he is the government. These tech companies feel they're more powerful than the U.S. government, to the point of actually kicking the actual president of the United States off of an American social media platform. This is the world we live in.
And I would say, listen, I agree with you, and I'll tell you why. I think it's completely inconsistent that companies like Facebook and Twitter allow people like the Ayatollah of Iran, for example, to remain on the platform, or Taliban people to be on the platform, but they don't allow an American president. That seems to me completely ludicrous.
Yes, and this is part of the 100-year plan that they have books on about, China's takeover of America after losing the Industrial Revolution. Now, let's talk about business people. We won't refer to their race. And by the way, I'll tell you, as a Jew person, a person that has a lot of Jewish friends, it's not a race, it's a people.
Right.
And every Jewish homeboy I know is going to be like, yo, yeah, that's right. So, but it's hard to attract, it's hard to influence patriotism on capitalists. And it's a responsibility for us as Americans to retake our power in media, to retake our power in our schools, to retake our power in our farms, to retake our power in our medicine, in our hospitals, to revitalize the country, because America invented rock and roll at the end of the day. We have the inventions. America created Apple. You understand? Like, we created the platforms that the world runs on now, and we've allowed the business people in these companies to sell us, and whatever the term is, sell them in a handbag, whatever it is, for cheap. And Americans are God-fearing, for the most part, God-fearing Christian people, and we're not cheap, and we can't be sold for cheap. And we're here to stand up and say, you got to honor who we are, our families. You got to honor our God, Jesus Christ. So, next subject.
Can I ask you something? Let me ask you something else here. I want to ask you about your family, because you mentioned families there. A lot of stuff has been written about you and your family. A lot of it fueled by you, by Kim, by others. Where are things now with your family? What is your relationship like with Kim, with your kids?
Kim has Zionist media handlers surrounding her, all in and out her Hulu TV show, all in and out her family, all in or out the house that I created for my family. But God is alive, the devil is a defeated foe, and Kim is a Christian woman, and she's not here just to have content up on adult channels. She's not here just to have that last Interview magazine cover. If you look at the two Interview magazine covers, look at the one when I was there and look at the one when I'm not there. And that's the reason why this Tuskegee experiment of such that's happened to the black community, where they took the fathers out of the home and the leaders out of the community and have torn apart the community. Now they've seen that's worked, and they're doing that to America. They're attempting, they're trying.
I mean, the Interview magazine cover you're talking about, I think, is the one where she was basically semi-naked in front of the American flag. And I thought that was pretty distasteful, actually. It was about the American dream, and I thought, well, if that's the American dream, we're all screwed. I mean, in America.
And I agree with that. And I didn't feel the platform to voice my opinion, because it's always like, hey, this is your kid's mother. But it's time with the leaders. Like, I'm still the priest of that home, Chris. I'm still the priest of that home. They want to make it this matriarch society, all that, and but I am the priest of this home, and God is alive. I am the living Robert Kardashian, and I'm going to stand up for what God would want as a Christian. And then people say as a Christian, oh, you're not supposed to curse. You're not supposed to have righteous indignation. but I do. You know, Christians had swords also. Christians got guns.
Abo, I
I
can't
tell
look
you
right
that.
now, brother. Thank you
You
for
know,
supporting
so.
But do
the
you
stream,
talk
but I
to
can't-
do you talk
stand
to
up
Kim?
for what I believe in.
There have been reports, that you and Kim don't really talk at the moment. She's distancing herself from you because of the stuff you've been saying must get in controversy. Is that true?
I mean, John Legend is distancing himself from me and buying more Christmas sweaters in the middle of spring also. So I'm not saying that, they're making the right decisions. She's being influenced, but I guarantee you what's not finna happen, we not finna see her in one of them John Legend Christmas sweaters no time soon.
But do you talk to her? Are you still in touch with each other?
Wait a second, don't you think it's like funny to like make a joke out of stuff sometimes? Don't you think like God has a sense of humor?
Of course.
But watch this. God, when I got married, I bought this house. I I did this tour and spent all the money I had on this house to like surprise Kim and give her this house that she wanted, that Lisa Marie Presley used to own. And then I got the house, and then I put all this money into renovation. And then there goes the neighborhood. Drake moves down the street 5 blocks. And that's when I knew God was funny. But watch, this is where God is even funnier. Here goes like Louis C.K. Part 2 level, because Louis C.K. is the funniest man alive. Uncancel him now, right? So and he was funnier before he's canceled, because all he would do is type of jokes that you'd get canceled on, right? So I got an office and outside of Crenshaw, like in an opportunity zone, and this office, 57,000 square foot office, is the one that Tucker Carlson came to visit me at. And I look out the window, and whose office is being built, a brand new one? The Skims office. It's like, who's writing this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, God is funny. So that's the thing. We always gotta be like, we gotta be funny. We gotta have a sense of humor, like,
But yeah, let me ask you.
There's a lot. Yeah.
But are you sad that you're getting divorced? Are you sad the relationship came to an end?
That happened 2 years. We got the divorce 2 years.
Yeah.
Yo, we're.
Are you
Pierce,
actually?
We've been got divorced. What are you talking?
Yeah. I mean, let me rephrase that. Are you sad that you're no longer together? That you're divorced?
We'll always be together. She dresses exactly like me. What do you mean? Like, my kids are me. There's no person that she'll ever get with that will influence her more than God and then her priest on earth, which was me. Whether it's the Skims clothing line, the designers, the architects, all those people. You got the Clintons, the left, utilizing what we built together to try to use her as an influence for the black culture and the word culture in general for the next elections. They need those 300 million followers from Kylie and Kim on their side going into their election, as they push trauma culture to the black people again, as they claim any of my questions of business dealings to be anti-Semitic comments, and push, Kim to, as a billionaire mother of a lawyer and a mother of 4 Jew black children, to do covers like Interview. And that's what happens when they take the dads out the home, and that's what they've been doing in the hood. They take the fathers and the leaders out of the homes. And if we keep on allowing this to happen and we don't have some level of a decent I have a question. Who do you think are the biggest white racist? The media.
You think the media is racist?
What? Please, next question. Please don't ask me any retarded questions.
Okay, let me go to the next. We're not past it unless you're prepared.
Are you happy that I said I'll focus?
Let me explain what
Are you happy that I said?
I know. I heard what you
Whoa, brother, why are you talking over me?
let me respond.
Yay, Chris.
Yeah, I'm Piers. Let's respond. Let me respond, right?
You want me to go on if I say to specify the business people that have raped my people that just so happen to be Jewish?
I think by doing what you've just done, I find that I'm not even Jewish and I find that offensive. Why do you keep having to do that? I don't think you get it at all. I don't think you understand the offense.
I actually am a person that's classified as black. You know, I classify myself as Jew. Let's go top 10 in each one of these categories, right? Let's read Michael B. Jordan's
contract. Why would any of that? Why would any of that?
Bro, I ain't finished. I ain't finished my sentence.
Nothing you're saying has anything to do with regret.
Hey, boy.
Don't call me boy.
Don't finish. I told you. Oh, don't treat me like a boy then. I'm going to finish my sentence and my idea.
Nothing you're saying has got anything to do with the tweet.
Cool. Bro, I was in the middle of a sentence, boy. Okay, so are you going to allow me to finish my sentence?
Yes. You're a billionaire. You can do what the hell you want. I'm just saying to you that I don't think you quite understand when you talk about. Okay, can I finish?
It's not Moti.
You're a multi-billionaire. Okay, well, congratulations. But that doesn't change the fact that when you insult the Jewish people and say you're going DEFCON 3.
Yo, I want to prove, first of all, I am Jew also. The 12 lost tribes of Hebrew. Do the math. Do your research on it. Okay. And I had this thing. Of course I'm divorced, and this is like a funny thing I thought. Being that her name is no longer West, and my name is no longer Ye, if there was ever, being that her name is no longer West, and my name is now only Ye, if we were ever to be together again, what would our name be? Kim Ye. Like, say, watch, Elon Musk, every product, the reason why Elon Musk is like a Steve Jobs is, if he makes a flamethrower, he would use that flamethrower. If he makes a Cybertruck, he would use that Cybertruck. Me, if I make some 3D printed boots, I'm gonna have the 3D printed boots on.
Wow,
and wear them every day.
Can I get a pair of those?
Absolutely, sir.
They would
Tucker
really
liked
suit
them
me.
also. Here's the obvious go-to. Biden doesn't listen to Elon Musk. The president of the United States does not have meetings with Elon Musk. That is, hey, here, come get me. That's retarded.
When you watch that video of George Floyd,
no, it's not a but. It's not. Well,
I haven't watched the whole thing.
I need you to watch.
I know.
Okay,
I know what you said about. I know Candace.
I'm gonna finish.
Yeah.
La.
It's all right.
La.
You don't have to do that. That means, I know what it means.
La means be quiet and let me finish. Hey, George Soros, you're a real competitor. I respect you. I'm worth more money than you. And I have more influence than you, and have, Piers Morgan from a different country saying, well, I'm not going to do an English accent because that would be racist. I'm funny, by the way.
That's fine. I know you can do that. As I said to you, the show is uncensored yet. Here's your chance to clarify what you meant by DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Well, thank you for allowing me to say what I meant due to the fact that I was blocked by Jewish people after I said that. So I wasn't actually allowed to.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for joining Piers Morgan Uncensored. My first question for you, I guess, is an obvious one. What do you hope to achieve from our conversation?
That right there, being uncensored. In American media, it's very censored. It feels like an episode of Black Mirror a lot of times. So I've put myself across the line, the point of no return, saying, hey, I know they're going to say whatever they want about me. And when I bring up the truth, they're going to say, you didn't get enough sleep. It's because of your health. They're going to call me names for my truth. But these experiences that I'm telling you about are factually things that I've went through. and things that I refuse to keep going through, and things that I'm not going to let my children go through, and things that I'm not going to let my peers go through. No pun intended.
Well, look, we are most certainly uncensored on this show, Ye, and I want to give you the time and the platform to really explain yourself, because I think that sometimes sound bites about people, perhaps taken out of context sometimes, can create a very distorted view of what a person really thinks. What do you think, looking back over the last few weeks in particular, what do you think have been the biggest misconceptions about you?
Well, I think there's a left agenda to silence anyone that goes against the agenda. Let's go back to Trump running for office back in 2015. Everyone that was around me in my industry, in the entertainment industry, told me that my life would be over. I would be on the wrong side of history. I've even had threats to my life for wearing the Trump hat. And it even ended up in, destroying my family and also making it where I have to raise my children differently, because I actually am a person that's classified as black. I classify myself as Jew, but a person that's classified that had been given that title in America as black, in America, that I'm supposed to stay in a block of a vote. You never heard the term white vote, so why is there a term black vote? How is that okay? It sounds just as racist as a black drinking fountain. And my dad, called me and said, the thing that the left fear about Ye or makes me the most dangerous is I'm rich. And that's the point. Tupac told me back in the days, you had to get your money right and then you go to war. So I'm going to war. I don't have endless resources. I only have maybe honestly only maybe $120 million in my account. But what I'm not going to let happen is I'm not going to let my kids take over Yeezy someday and have a boardroom telling them what to do and talking behind their back. I'm not going to let that happen to my children. So I have to fight right now. And the other powerful icons in black music, when they were at the top of the game, they didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So by the time they wanted to make a difference, by the time Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, he didn't have the Cosby Show at that time to be able to stand up when they wanted to literally throw him in jail, where they actually did throw him in jail. So people have to understand just the bravery. There's so many people everywhere. I know everyone can relate to being afraid to say what you're going to feel because you feel like you're going to lose something. So whether you agree with me or not, I believe people are going to feel the fact that someone is brave enough to say something. Every day I do 5 things that people have been historically killed for. Every day. And it's just, I want to prove, first of all, I am Jew also. The 12 lost tribes of Hebrew. Do the math. Do your research on it. We have got our culture ripped from us and then told we were just simply void of color, which is another definition for black. But if we knew we were a culture and knew we were a people, the way the Jewish people know, then we wouldn't abort ourselves. We wouldn't shoot each other dead in the streets and then rap about it. We wouldn't brag about, having sex with each other's wives. We would keep our families together and we would do business together. The most dangerous place for a black person in America is actually in our mother's stomachs, because 50% of black deaths a year in America is abortion currently. I mean, I can keep going, but I want to make it, hey, boom, ask me questions, let's go.
I don't want to jump in too much, because here's what I honestly think. I think you have an extraordinary mind. You have a number of extraordinary talents. You're a musical genius. You're a fascinating public figure. What has been interesting to me is to watch the furore which has erupted in the last few weeks over a series of statements that you've made, which have caused, as you know, a lot of offence. And I guess before I get into them, I'm just curious as to whether you think there is a line for free speech. Listen, I completely agree with you that there is a war against free speech, that people are, treading on eggshells all the time, terrified of expressing honestly held opinions in case they get cancelled. I think we're living in a really insidious era where liberals are behaving like fascists. So on that, you have absolutely my agreement. But my question for you is, do you believe there are limits to free speech? And if they are, what are they?
There are no limits to free speech. It's all context, right? Tarantino can write a movie about slavery where actually him and Jamie, they got the idea from me, because the idea for Django, I pitched to Jamie Foxx and Quentin Tarantino as the video for Gold Digger. And then Tarantino turned it into
Bandit. Everyone who can, including Grayson, make a live donation to Islamic Relief to aid those in need. Bandit, thank you, brother, for supporting this. I'm not going to be donating to, I guess, to those in need. I'm sure you're specifically referring to Palestine. I don't even know anything about that war. I'm so out of the loop. I just know it's Muslims versus Jewish people. I live in a completely different world than most of you guys. We've all had extremely different lives and been grown up in completely different ways, and we think that we assume that everyone is in like similar situations, but they're so completely different, like by who you're surrounded with and stuff. Dude, it's wrong, LMO. It's not Muslims versus Jews. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand what's going on. I literally said I don't know what's going on. Abu Sulaiman. There are 14 haram in Quran. Whoa, that rhymes. See if you can spot them. Jamil, but religion is what